have no liberal agenda. I have more of a super awesome agenda. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Nursery, the podcast from Ohio's creative voice. My name's Lee Boyle.
And I'm Jesse Martin.
And today we're going to talk about whatever the hell we want. And just off the top, I'd like to mention to listeners that Jesse does some music. Mm-hmm. Would you like to tell them about the various projects?
Not really.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll tell him what I'll botch it for you. So he does. How I knew him is playing some guitar. Sometimes he's outsourced as the guitar player for the Zoo, Youngstown band. If Youngstowners are listening, then I watched him be the guitarist and vocalist and writer for Sleep Projections, and soon to be doing it for a band called DOWNLOWS, but his maybe mothership project is Floor Baba. And that is more in that scene, that weird youngster scene of people that go to concerts. Well, they go to real concerts, but they also go to virtual concerts sometimes online. And so it's this world of you youngster people with like thousands and thousands of SoundCloud plays and DJ sets through virtual worlds and Bandcamp, this and that, alternative cool music scene that Jesse is like young enough and old enough to be responsibly like putting his finger on the pulse of, but young enough to still be like, hey, I'm making electronic music, man, it's cool. So like, tell me about what it's like to do Floor Baba, to do like electronic.
Well, it originally started, I was doing a lot of game soundtracks and stuff when I was going to school up here.
Sleepy Time Jesse.
Yeah, I was doing chiptune and game soundtracks, and that it was just too much grind. It really was tough, and I never got paid. Well, I got paid probably like 4 times out of like 1,000 projects, and like one thing ever released, and I got frustrated with it. So eventually I went back to old stuff that I was like kind of sitting on that I never actually got to have come out on the soundtrack, and I started remixing it and kind of like putting some modern production behind it. And I came up with something, and I was like, wow, this is something I haven't really heard before. So I just kind of pursued that sound instead of a career in freelance work, and just kind of got like a regular job, and did that on the side. And then that kind of blew up, especially once I started getting involved in like the net label scene and online concerts and stuff. And then eventually I founded my own label and venue, and then that kind of took off. Then I released my own album on that label, and it's just been a really incredible journey, honestly.
That's cool, man. I was about to mention you were a mover and shaker as far as like trying to for real make like a part-time living on the thing, which is admirable. But also, it sounds like people found you and picked you up and said, hey, we want you for this, and that's cool. Our mutual friend Murad, part of the band DOWNLOWS with you, mentioned that you get these, I don't know if he mentioned it on air, but he mentioned to me that you get these gigs that you're like, hey, you kind of have to go far out of town to get the live gigs that you prefer, right? Because Youngstown's a little hard up for that, right?
Yeah, this year I really want to do something big in Youngstown and kind of like make something happen here, because I think desperately they want it to happen in real life around here. I don't think there's many electronic people here, but I want to maybe bring a lot of the people I know from, Detroit, Chicago and like New York and maybe even Philly, and get those people here and then try to make something of a spectacle of that. Of course, online it's a lot easier because there's not the logistics of gas and travel and time and people's lives and work and everything, but I would like to see that happen because I think that this area really needs to pick up a little bit.
Well, that's interesting because I think you could, of course, pull it off, and the threads that I have that connect you to like other people in my head are like my brother Jack from Third Class does a side project Juche, and there's something in common. Like it might not be exactly the same genre, but there's something there where he went through like a little niche avenue and came out on the other side. Like he released this electronic soundscapey stuff with his friend. I think it was a Japanese music review site picked it up, and then they sold a lot for just starting out on, I think Bandcamp was their thing.
That's the best. I mean, it's so strange because stuff kind of went from like everybody had to worry about a local scene to like now I feel like everyone's on a little bit of a national and international scale. Yeah. Like I get show offers in the UK all the time, and I'm like, I can't afford that air travel, and like you probably can't afford to pay me, but you know about me, you like me, the opportunity's there if I can turn it into like a vacation. But stuff's just completely changed. You know, I mean, like around here I can't get a gig, but I'll be able to play on a Detroit tour in New York. You know, like it's just, you know, things are in such a state of flux, and it's hard to make sense of sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and I think one thing to watch is there's something, it's not quite, this is a little bit more in the dubstep like vein of things, but there's something happening March 5th at Irish Bob's called Boom at Bob's, and they're transplanting a bunch of people from, I'm going to name the wrong cities, I think, but I think it's probably somewhere like Detroit, New York, LA people that are all coming to Irish Bob's in Youngstown to DJ.
How's that?
It's weird. So like,
good.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, but it's like maybe, regardless of attending or not, to keep your finger on that pulse and see if that goes over well. Maybe that could align you with whether or not it would work for you to do something where you host your buddies.
That would be a good thing to take a look at. I didn't even know about it. You know, like also it's just so hard to promote things, especially locally on things like Facebook, because things have just gotten so hard for an artist on Facebook these days. Like I don't even like touch my artist page. I don't touch the DESKPOP Facebook page because it's useless.
It's hard.
So I mean, I think Twitter is really where I see a lot of things thriving. But the thing is, businesses don't really use Twitter all that much in the same vein. You know, they don't have, you know, at least not like local businesses that you could easily work with as an artist.
Right. They don't tend to click on your website very often.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So it kind of falls in this weird like disconnect of you know, I think everybody's got to play a little bit of catch up and maybe get on the same page first. Because I didn't even know about this, and I live right here.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, had a conversation with my brother Jack, who does the Juche stuff, a couple days ago, and he tends to be pessimistic, and I tend to be optimistic. And he was like, "What's the use on Facebook anymore, man?" I mean, he was like, "You have to wade through all these articles and things, and like, whatever, that's fine, but I want to see." More or less, we kind of both agreed we like seeing when people create their own things, and even those pages are suffering because everybody's creating a page for like their hair and stuff. It's just like I created a page for my bracelet, you know, just like weird. It's not like, oh no, I created a page for this musical project I put years into. No, it's like I just created a page for like these beads I made.
I got in an accident. Please fix my bumper.
And it's like and he was arguing, I'd rather just give it less time. And I was arguing, no, you, Jack, need to post more, fix it. Like, I'll look and find a Jesse post, find a Floor Baba post, find a Juche post, Jack post, whoever, any of my friends, Peppy, and then I'll be like, oh, thank God they saved it. They saved it.
No, that is a good point, yeah.
Because like, look at your 2010 feed. It's a world of comedy and fun, I'm sure. Like I looked at 2010 and it was amazing. I saw my brother, he just posted some lyrics to Bootylicious. It's like it was like now he wouldn't dare. He wouldn't dare. But then it was just I don't know what the word is, candid, I guess, enough to just be like, okay, cool.
Stuff's gotten so like so family oriented, and like it's like that's your public persona, you know, like.
And my attitude towards that is, I think that feeds into when people are like, don't do anything online because online is forever. My attitude towards that is that they've already got me. If they want me, the government, whoever it is, has got me. They've got me.
No, that's very true. Yeah, because like actually just the other day, Murad like posted something and tagged me in it. And I was like, Murad, can you please put untag that? And I thought about it, and I was like, I'm already screwed. Like if somebody doesn't like me, that one thing isn't going to change anything.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
It's kind of like, just like somebody might not like you in real life, somebody might not like you online.
Right.
Who cares? Who cares?
I dealt with that early on. There was a friend of mine who I think he handed some lyrics. He wrote some lyrics of ours down that were like dark, like sad lyrics, and handed them off to somebody who got creeped out, and they reported him to like our high school principal. And my principal, I don't know how they did this back then because this was like 2002, but somehow it got back to him that that's what those lyrics were, and he like found our website, and he was like, which was like angelfire.envy. Whatever.
Yeah, GeoCities.
Yeah. And he was like, if I were you, I would probably take these down. And I was like, thanks for the advice. And I left and didn't do anything.
Well, I guess that's why I wrote them and not you.
Yeah. And even I think I was about 17, and even that, I think it just started early for me. So now I have grown into this monster of like oversharing on media and stuff because of that.
Just who cares?
Yeah. But anyways, aside from, to parlay that into life when I was younger, what was life in Ohio like for you when you were younger? Did you grow up here?
I was born here, and I lived here until about the end of third grade, and maybe it was the beginning of third grade. I think it was the beginning. And then my family unit of just like my mom, dad, me, and my sister, we moved to Florida, and that's where I lived until like right out of high school. So that's kind of where I considered like my home to be, and that's like where a lot of my typicalities, my personality, the things I like kind of stem from. To this day, all of my art for Floorbop always has like palm trees, water, has like Floridian themes. The closing track on my original debut album, Game Wave, is actually called Rotunda. which is the neighborhood I grew up in, and it looks like this big Death Star in Southwest Florida. It's like this big, like a manufactured neighborhood, and it like fell apart because like nobody could finish building it and all this stuff. It's a really interesting little space. So like that's kind of what I consider to be like where I grew up and like kind of shaped me as a person.
So it was third grade. Say again the timeline. It was third grade.
Third grade until about a month or two out of high school. So that'd be like 2008, and then I don't know what third grade was. But I'm not. Well, I grew up in Florida, so I don't really know math. So then I moved back up here, and then I kind of had to make some opportunities for myself, and I went to music school up here at YSU, Dana, and studied composition, academically. And then in that time, played locally, went on tour with the zoo and stuff. And then I've had kind of guerrilla style recording studios pop up all over the neighborhoods and everything. So
when you were like, there were times when we played with the zoo way back and relatives would show up. Were you ever like home for the holidays and made a show? I thought maybe I had met you way back, but maybe not.
Maybe when I first moved here, because I didn't like join that band like immediately.
I guess 2008 is way back now.
Yeah. I mean, man.
I was thinking it was earlier, but maybe that was it. Yeah. I was thinking I might have met you at Lazy Bee when you were like 12 or something, but you were in Florida.
No. Yeah, it was probably like when I first moved up in here, and then I went and saw them for a few because I was kind of like, well, I kind of want to make some friends,
Sure.
So I went to local shows and stuff and saw them, and I think probably met you. I met Jungle, who was in Atlanta. They were on tour up here, and I met them originally before I was even in the band. Then we ended up all touring together and stuff.
That's right. Yeah, listeners, if you're ever just interested in a band that does, what are they? Jungle's real Radiohead influence, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say like they're just really like it's something I've never really heard before. It's like it's indie, but it's electronica, but it's it's got some metal influences. They're just a super talented group of people, and Josh and Graham I love very dearly. I don't get to see them very much, but if you're listening,
where are they based out
of? In Atlanta.
What were you gonna say, Don?
I don't get to talk to them very much, but if you happen to listen to this, love you.
Yeah, man. Josh, is it Josh you're addressing? And so
both of them. Yeah.
Both of them. Okay, and then for listeners who care, if you just, I don't know. I know it's kind of hard to just recommend things just cold turkey to people, but JUNGOL listeners, if you want it, if it sounds cool, what Jesse just described as far as the genre goes, fun like rock, pop, electronic stuff that gets thrown in there. Anyhow, so growing up, Florida's a big influence. It influenced your cover and stuff like that. What kind of kid were you?
First of all, I was like a skater and stuff, I guess first before that, I was a big Pokemon nerd, and that never really stopped. Skating stopped when I snapped my arm, and then after that, I got the cast off, and I was like, I think I'm done with sports. So then I picked up guitar more seriously, and then played in like metal bands and punk bands and stuff. And then, I mean, that's huge down in Florida. Like, that's where, that and Sweden is, like, where death metal is from. Like, it's totally polar opposites of the world, but they got that in common. And then from there, I just kind of started to, paying more attention to, like, video game soundtracks, because I was a big gamer with my friends and stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. So I started, like, studying up on that. And eventually, when we moved up here, then I was like, I'm going to pursue this academically, like, really take it seriously.
Well, are you the kind of person that reads like how to do something and just does it? Are you good with things like that, like systematically?
I understand like complex systems really well, but I kind of have to like get my hands dirty with it.
Yeah.
So even when I was in school, I'd read it, I'd talk about it, I'd go home and I'd immediately apply it, and then it becomes like part of my tool set. Reading about it is a little bit harder for me than to just like absorb that way. It's just not the way my brain works.
Yeah. My mom was one of those people. Like, I'm kind of maybe generalizing, but she kind of just had that how to have kids book while we were young, and had the how to do this and how to do that book, and just did it. She's like, I'm jealous of people like that. You just pick it right up, whether it's through reading or other ways, like you said. But it sounds like you have a way of spinning it and making it your own, obviously. What jobs did you have growing up? As far as you mentioned, like working jobs while doing music, like what kind of, you don't have to name any companies, but what did you do?
I was mostly a professional student up until about junior year of college, and then I started working at this production company, and that's where I met and kept a lot of friends. And then I was like working, you know, big gigs. Like I worked a Rick Springfield gig. I worked with the Temptations. I worked with who else did I work with? I don't know. It's like a bunch of weird people.
That's cool.
Oh, you know what? The first day on the job, I met Keith Richards, and I shook his hand. He was like, "Thanks for your help," and I was like, "I didn't do anything, but nice to meet you." And then, so I worked that for about a year, and then after that, I took this job with the DME company I'm currently working for, and I was a driver and a technician, and doing setups and working on call. And at one time, like I was responsible for a territory of like 6-8 counties or something. And it just got too much, and there was a job opening in the office that came up, and I went to my supervisor. I sat him down. I went like, "I want this. Here's the reasons. It's not crazy. Let me know if you have a reason not to give me it." Mm-hmm. And then like 2 months went by, and they're like, "You know, you really are the best one for the job." So then I took it, and that's where I'm working right now. Got like a 9-to-5 office job, managing stuff. Mega stressful, but you know, I get to tweet. You know?
Yeah.
No, that's good, man. Would you agree with the idea that the more you do, the even more you do? Like, do you like staying busy, or do you have those years where you are like, my New Year's resolution is to relax, and then you don't?
Dude, I think probably every day I wake up going like, I need to take it easy, and I never do it. And like, actually right now I'm probably at like the most stressed out point in my like musical career. Like, writing's not fun. I don't like checking my mail. I don't, you know, I wake up and I just like, I work at work and I'm stressed. I come home and I got like a billion other things I got to do for music. People in this country are waiting for this for me, and this person right here wants to know where this is at and everything. I'm like, you know what? I think that I actually am going to take a step back. You know, like I was talking to some artists I really respect. One of them being Grime Craft out there in California, and he told me, he was like, you know, oftentimes I'll go months without writing. I'll be like, you're like, your grind is unreal. You have a weekly show online. You travel people out to go see you. You're always like touring and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I won't write for months if it's not fun. I'll be like, I gotta learn that.
Yeah.
I like, you know, I try to, if it's not creative, I gotta make it like a problem solving thing.
Yeah.
And so my brain's never really stopping, and it's gotten too much lately.
Well, I think you and I have that in common in that you probably can differentiate between your job and the music, obviously, but you probably sit down and say you're going to sit down for like an hour, and you sit down for like 10 minutes and get up and go do something again.
Yeah.
Like I have that problem too. I mean, year after year we've kind of grandiosely announced that we're about to go on hiatus. We're about to go chill out. We're about to chill out. We're about to, it's going to be so different next year.
With Third Class?
Yeah, with Third Class. And we say it every time. I say it to my friends. I'm like, we're going to slow it down. We're what we're doing right now is we're winding down. And it doesn't quite ever wind down.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad, but I think like you, there is a time where if for whatever reason, can't always be lucky with it being always like a blast. When it's not fun, I do turn it into more business mindset problem solving thing.
Yeah.
And you and I do like a little bit different music, but I think the solution to things like that is like, just if you know that you're just not going to relax and you know you're going to be busy, I guess lean into it. But I mean, if you're able to take that step back like you just described, let me know how you did it. Cause I'm not bragging, listeners. I'm not being like, him and I are just so driven. We're so driven. But like right now we're recording a podcast that's going to go up on like my band's site about how we don't want to be doing things just like this.
Oh my God. That's actually, exactly true. Yeah. Like wake up, I'm like, you know, I'm going to take it easy. And then I play like 10 minutes of video games. And then I think about the new stuff I want to do. And then I drive in the cold and I come record a podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like the other day I was telling myself, I was like, you know, writing's not fun. Just play on your computer, hang out, do whatever. I organized a new EP out of stuff I have sitting around. I was like, I have an album cover, I've got all these tracks, and I put them together, and I was like, oh my God, I just made an album. Like, I can't do this. Like, you know?
And people think that means that we put out everything we do, but that's the weirdest part, is that the tip of the iceberg is right there. And there's a million things that both Jesse and I have edited together. I think I can speak for you on this, that that have never seen the light of day and never will.
Like you said, the vast majority. Like I'm sitting on probably like 6 albums that I'll probably never release 5 of them. Not that they're bad, it's just I gotta make room. I'm like, I can't be releasing an album every couple weeks, you know. So I just I kind of pick and choose, and then eventually you're waiting to release this one. In that time, you've written enough material that you're like, well, I really like this more, and then you kind of step around that one, and then you start doing the new one.
Right.
Game Wave is like the first project I went and I was like, I am tired of, with everything I always do, getting stuck and not releasing like stuff I'm proud of because I get in my own head. So I spent a year compiling that one album, and it ended up being 20 tracks long and like over an hour long, and I was just kind of like, are people even going to listen to this? And at the last minute I was like, I don't care, post.
Yeah.
And then it ended up like being really huge, so I gotta probably take a lesson for myself,
No, that's great. I'm glad that people like got what you were doing and like paid attention and like listened, and it might be like playing in their earbuds while they're at work or doing, like, I'm glad it's like actually getting through other people's bloodstreams and letting them like hear it. And on the non-music front too, like I can relate with you saying you worked a lot. Like it's weird, I'm starting just part-time. I work at a warehouse, but part-time I'm starting to do those weird little like driving services that are unregulated, those companies. And so now it's horrible because the minute I sit down, I'm like, should I just go drive? Should I go? And today I sat down to watch like a stand-up comedy special, and my wife was like, hey, I'm gonna go to the bank, I'll be back. And I was like, can I come with you? I just wanted to go out.
No, I definitely relate to that, because like I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh, I better have my phone near me in case you work calls, because I never know, because I don't have the job where I'm always traveling anymore, but somebody does, and I have to help them. So then I try not to be like the jerk who, like, when I was on the road and I tried to call for help, nobody was there. I try to like not have that happen for them. So I always keep my phone around, and then on top of that, I've always got like, well, I could relax, or I could do any of the 6 things that are bugging me right now, like in my head, like this guy's waiting on a remix. I wonder if these tapes actually, or these USB cards actually ship to Japan. I hope that goes through okay. This email I haven't opened yet, and I'm kind of scared about what they're saying. Like, I've gotten death threats on like through DESKPOP stuff too. Like, there's just always a million things you're like, should I really sit down and look at that?
That's crazy, man. Somebody would have a death threat ready for an electronic performing musician.
Yeah. It's been like, I've gotten like 3, and I'm pretty sure they're all from the same crazy dude. Wow. But I mean, it's just, I guess it is what it is in the online age. I mean, I don't know who he is. He probably doesn't even know who I am.
Right.
It's just kind of like, I guess that's a thing that happened. All right,
well, if you're listening, man, if you're like serious and you found this, just stay away, man. It's okay. He's not gonna hurt anybody. He's just a musician.
Dude, just be cool.
Yeah,
be cool.
Yeah. And like there was something else you said that I want to go. Just generally, as far as music goes, like you obviously aren't trying to make it for that guy in particular to get angry at, but in an episode called Up Highs and Downlows that I did with Murad from your act Downlows, he asked why I made music, and my answer was something to the effect of keeping people off the stool, kind of like, oh, can I brighten their day, more or less, can I keep them from being sad? And he said, he was like, I see that, but I do it so I can leave a mark. I leave a mark in the world after I die. So like, which there's more than those two, but what do you subscribe to as far as like why you make it? He also mentioned he couldn't help it, he had to.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one. I think for me, it's kind of like a personal drive that I have, and then through that like initial like instinct to write, I've built a life that kind of I've picked and choose which ways that kind of influences my path. Like when I started DESKPOP, it was originally because I was like, when I was a young dude like trying to fight to make this music, nobody helped me. I was like, not one person cared. I couldn't send my music to somebody and get an email back. I'm gonna be that guy who emails back. Over time, that's gotten almost impossible because I actually get way too many emails now. But I try to pick out like at least 10% of them and go, oh, cool, and like I've made lifelong friends and fans just by being like, cool, your music's good, I like it, here you go, and throw it and give it an audience. Like it's not hard. It's a download of that track, put it in the metadata, and post it. It takes 5 seconds and it really brightens somebody's day. So I think that's kind of one thing that really helps me out, like makes me feel good about the music I'm doing. And then also I think that there's not enough people trying hard at art. So many people's days are bland, my day is bland oftentimes, and then when you find something that really challenges you or opens up your perspective and kind of inspires you, that makes all that boring stuff worth it. Like so I guess that's kind of a rundown of that.
Well, that's cool. I hear parallels, and I think your idea about emails parallels your idea about phones, right? You mentioned wanting to be on call for people, right?
Yeah, like I'm on call for the guy that's on call, so I don't charge for it. I don't put in those hours or anything. But if somebody needs something and it'll take me 5 seconds and I'm at home, like
that's a work thing.
Yeah, it's a work thing.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, just for DESKPOP stuff, my buddy Brad's out in Connecticut and I run it. If he has a question or he has something, he'll call me and I'll pick it up and we'll talk it through. Or if I have like an idea, I'll text it and then we'll talk about it or whatever. Just kind of like that open communication, like it's not hard. If that's the hardest thing you got to do all day, get over it.
No, I'm with you there, man. I mean, I can't tell you how many times somebody has dropped the ball out of sheer, I don't want to say laziness, but maybe just like doing that thing where they have so many opportunities, they choose none. That kind of thing.
Paralysis by analysis.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. Where you just you worry so much about so many things that you don't actually do any one thing. I can definitely see that. I try to help people through that.
Yeah, that's good. And it's not like I've ever gotten angry or anything, but I've seen people kind of freeze in the middle of corresponding and things like that, where they either got cold feet or they, I don't know. Yeah, just became, paralyzed. Yeah.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, even art is hard, especially when you try to live a life that sustains the art. If the art can't sustain your life, so I mean, people are like, "Oh, this is too much work," and I'm like, "Okay, then you can leave. I don't care."
Yeah. I mean, that's cool that you have that you're like, I try to help them through it, because I think I have one too many times been guilty of being like, it's right there, just do it, and that's no good either, because that's just putting pressure on people. I think sometimes I accidentally fall into that attitude and just like slouch into being like, what's so hard about it?
That kind of thing. I always like, ask them and be like, okay, well, what's hard about it? Be like, well, it's just I don't really know how to do this yet. I'm like, YouTube it. Like, it's out there, and like, I'll help you through it. Like, I'll have people be like, oh, dude, your music's so good. How, what about your chords? What about your production? What about this? And I'm like, I will literally tell you. Like, I got nothing to hide, and it helps you out. And then you go on and, like, you go create something. I had a small part in that, like, there's, I forget what it's called, but there's this idea in Buddhism, which is that you are not yourself. You are everything that's ever happened as a ripple of yourself. And I take that pretty seriously in music. Like, if I can help somebody create something, I actually have like a small part of me in that creation. So it kind of like and likewise, those things come back. They create opportunities for yourself, and then that just kind of has like this growing impact. So many people are like stuck in their own selves, and they're self-important, and they think, well, I can't share my secrets because what I'm doing is amazing. Like, no, it's what you're doing could actually be way more amazing if you talk to people. Through
artistic personality, I found that a lot in a few friends and family members, where they think that like, they take that ripple effect thing and they think that they're going to hurt somebody with it. They think they're going to walk out into town and everyone's going to be like, I don't like that guy. He's making me uncomfortable, when like really no one's looking sometimes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's that. And I think it's also that people have a perception of their talent that's way more self-important than it is.
Yeah, definitely.
So you walk downtown, there's somebody, playing piano, and they think that this is like the best thing in the world, and you go talk to them and they're kind of like, oh yeah, this is, the best thing that you'll ever hear almost. You're like, I worked super hard on this, and then you try to talk to them, they're like, oh, well, you're kind of weird or whatever. No, it doesn't have to be that way. What you're doing isn't reinventing the wheel. There's been hundreds of years of music before you. You could be better and you could be worse, and it's just the journey of a human. You're not that important, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and that should, I think, if looked at long and hard enough, it usually comes out, whether it's early or late in life, that's a comforting thought. Like the fact that we're all going to be dust someday, or that we all were, or whatever you want to say, is comforting, correct? Because then your consequences get like diminished a little.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially in this realm of like, of like a global stage where like, you can just be here in Ohio, you can put something out on the internet, and it could be viewed hypothetically by everyone in the world. In that aspect, everyone has that. So it just goes right back to you're just one person screaming in the million, it doesn't really matter. So any attention that you do get is really not just on you, but also on the people who care about it.
That makes sense. And what advice would you have to people who are driven, whether it's music or any other semi-creative endeavor. What advice would you have, like, for them if they're young, listening to you now, and they want to do, and they just want to get themselves off the ground? What would you tell them?
Probably just Google search anything you're ever wondering about, because
Sure.
I mean, it's out there. You know, you can read about it, you can sit down and learn it. You know, I mean, I can say this with a little bit of like authority because I went to like academic music school and I studied composition with like real serious composers who like studied with like, you know, 20th century geniuses. And at the end of the day, YouTube is really where I learned most of my most important tool sets. You know, like it just goes to show you that, like, you know, it's not all about who you know, it's really more about how much work you put in.
Do you get irked when people, sometimes this is totally justified because they're asking friends for like local business, like, do you know any lawn care, blah blah blah, on Facebook? I get that. But you know, when people say like, what's going on with Kanye, and they just ask it as a question while they're on the internet, does that stuff irk you at all? Like when people just like ask something they could YouTube or Google?
Yeah, definitely. I when I see that, I'm just kind of like, and that's a person I'm not going to talk to.
It's just a weird idea because like I'm not mad at them, but I'm like, wait, is it funny to you or what?
You could have just typed different letters in a different box.
and found it.
Yeah. Like,
That's pretty funny.
maybe not even different letters. What's going on with Kanye?
Yeah,
Google
same.
says new album coming out. His Twitter is active again. Like, there you go.
Yeah, you're right. And then like to like finish us off, I guess just your thoughts on, I know a lot of Ohioans who transplant to Florida. Being that you kind of Ohio, Florida to Ohio, what are you doing here? Like, what is the beauty found in this place for you, or what's going on here?
That's something I've been struggling with a lot lately because I get these bouts of like extreme homesickness for that area because like the nature is beautiful, you know, the lifestyle is just way more relaxed. There's less fear. I think that's one thing that I've been really struggling with. You know, in Florida, I could at 3:00 in the morning be walking around on a golf course and it'd just be like a beautiful dewy night and it'd be like, that's, you know, that was my childhood. I come up here, if you're walking anywhere at 3 a.m., like, you disappear. Like, that's the perception, maybe if that's not the reality, but that's just the fear that people live in up here.
It is.
And that's something that I think's been the most difficult for me because I feel like although there is nature around here, it's so fragmented and it's so something that you can only experience during the hours you're allowed to. And that's been something to really struggle with. But on the positives, up here, there's, I think, strangely enough, more economic promise because down there, I mean, stuff's just of wasteland. I mean, up here, I mean, people always talk about us being wasteland. Different situation, but similar results down there. So I came up here and like there's like a school with music stuff going on. There's a, you know, I was very fortunate to have Rob Jokey kind of pick me up and I got into like the music theater scene for a little bit there. And I cut some chops and gained some friends from that. You know, we're also equidistant between major cities up here. So, you know, our cost of living is low, but I can afford travel to Detroit, to New York, you know, to Philly and everywhere. And so I think what I've been trying to learn about this area is like making a home base and making good things happen here, but also taking advantage of the fact that, you know, we have a little bit of extra cash around because people don't really like this area.
Yeah.
So housing's cheap, you know, so get to go where stuff is happening and maybe even have a more profound impact than if I was living there trying to make it and do stuff on the side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's smart, and it goes to show that, I mean, to take advantage of a possibility of travel is important, especially while you're young. And to turn into like a little bit of a podcast encyclopedia for a second, listeners, if you want to hear about more on Floridians' take on Ohio or vice versa, you can listen to an episode called Snakes and Alligators with my friend Alex. And then there's Rob Jokey, Jesse just mentioned, listeners, is in an episode called something Grumpy Hot Dogs is in the title. So go find that because he talks, what Jesse just referenced, listeners, Jokey is like big in the music cool scene in the Ohio Youngstown area. So he's an interesting guy too. And then to wrap us up, can you tell people where to find your music? It's Floor Baba, listeners, is FLOOR, obviously, and then BABA. So it's 2 words, Floor Baba. Where should they go first and foremost to listen to her?
I'm really active on Twitter and on SoundCloud. Facebook, the artist page, I think I've talked about it like 3 times, maybe 4 now counting this. I've got like over 300 on there, so I might start paying attention to it. But also, I mean, just my personal Facebook, Jesse Martin, I use that as my art one mostly.
Googling Floor Baba will get you there, listeners, but yeah, I guess as you hear, it's your poison, pick your poison as far as social media goes. So what I'm trying to say, listeners, is go on Facebook, type in, where can I find Floor Baba? And your friends will tell you.
the status about it.
Yeah, and your friends will tell you underneath your status. So then, can you say anything to our listener, my mom?
Or your mom?
Yeah, she's our listener to the podcast. Do you have anything to impart to her, even though you probably have barely even met her?
Oh, no problem. Lee's a very good boy.
Thanks. Finally, somebody gets it. That's all I ever wanted. Okay, guys. Well, Mom, look, Jesse and I are on a podcast. We made it. We made it in this world. And Floor Baba, DOWNLOWS, anything else, Jesse, thank you for being on Nursery, and have a good night.
Shouts out to Nursery.
Oh, yeah, son.
Hey, Ohio. This is Jimmy Martin from the Speaking and Music Show at YouTube. Thanks for listening to The Nursery.